there's a lot of tactics, a lot of strategy. The next kind of 25, 30 minutes are going to be heavy. And I'm super excited to share them with you because this is the skill that you need to have to create so much money in your business. I'm super excited to share it with you. Would you all agree that the world has changed? 2020, 2021, we were in a momentum-based market. It was moving so fast that we couldn't do much. But now, when things are moving slower, we are now in a skills-based market. How we actually deliver, how we actually work is so much more important right now. And we're also realizing with the lawsuits, with the NAR, DOJ, and all the other things that are happening, that controlling the listing becomes even more important. Would you nod and agree with me? So let me ask you this question. Do you sometimes feel like it's more competitive to get listings right now? Raise your hand. Okay. Then this blueprint is for you. Do you sometimes feel like there's so much that you offer in your value proposition, but you only have 45 minutes in a listing appointment to present it, and you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't get all the way through on how well I can do for them? Do you sometimes feel that way? Then this presentation is for you. Do you sometimes feel like you get random objections? And you're like, man, right in the middle of me talking about marketing, she asked about pricing. Right in the middle of me talking about how great I am, she says, well, just tell me how much you charge. Have you ever gotten random objections during appointments? Then this presentation is for you. I want to walk you through the listing presentation that got us $1 billion in listings in under 23 months. Cold, meaning zero rapport. I knew nobody. Cold. So here's proof. Please allow me to share a proof with you. In the first, I went on 161 listing appointments. We won 152 out of 161. That's a 94.5% success rate. That was $457 million in listings taken in the first 18 months. And then I thought, could I do better? What happened? Why did I lose? And then for the next 5 months, I went on 87 listing appointments. We won all 87 for over $500 million in listings taken. So in a 23-month period, we had 248 listing appointments. We won 239 out of 248. Over $1 billion in listings taken cold. Here's the best part. I used the same blueprint to beat Warren Buffett. Would you like to know the story? I have not and will not ever beat Warren Buffett at anything in my life, except this one time. There was a $100 million listing. There were only 2 people at play. He was friends with the board member that Warren Buffett was friends with the board member for, and it was a Berkshire Hathaway opportunity. The assistant told me, oh, Mr. Buffett's speaking to them before you. I'm sorry. I was a little deflated and then super energized after because I had to win, because at some point in my life I knew that I had to throw up this slide and be honest with you. Right? So this is the same exact presentation that won that appointment. By the way, we got that listing. It did not sell for 18 months. And then 3 months later, we randomly represented a buyer on a $101 million sale. I got a $450,000 referral check. It's not bad, not bad, for one presentation. All right, so here's how this works. I honestly tell you this, I am not good because I have done something that you have not done. But I am kind of good, because there's some proof here, because I have learned something that you may not yet have learned. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach it to you right now. I'm going to give you exactly what happened. Every single appointment that we went on, after I finished the appointment, I sat down in my car and wrote down every single question that the client had asked us. I have 248 appointments worth of questions that a client has asked us. Do you? Why not? You don't have to, because I'm just going to give it to you. Right? This was really important, and here's the truth. I wrote down every single question. Every single appointment is in my notepad. I pulled out a notepad, I wrote the agent's name that I went on the appointment with, I wrote down the questions that were asked. And then one day I realized there has to be a pattern somewhere here. And I did this crazy guy look. I was like, I gotta be FBI, I gotta find a pattern in all of this. And I realized that there were 10 questions that all the clients asked us in some way. Would you like to know what these 10 questions are? Yeah. Let's look at them. I'm gonna give you all the 10 questions. Please let me read. Do not take a picture yet, because it's not the full slide. Hang tight. Number 1, what qualifies you to sell my house? What are they asking? They're asking for your capability. Question number 2, why does this entire process feel so stressful? Why is it complex? Question number 3, do you have a buyer for my house? I bet you've heard some worse version of this. They want to know the result. Question number 4, what are you actually gonna do? That's a question about process. Question number 5, does marketing even matter these days when I can just put my home on Zillow? It's an exposure question. By the way, we think it's funny, but it's an exposure question. They don't care. All they see is the home's on Zillow. What did you do? Question number 6, hey, it all looks the same. Why is your stuff any better? That's what they're thinking. They think there's commoditization in our industry, and they want to know why you are different, why you're better. Why does everyone claim to be the best? Every agent that they talk to is like, I'm number 1. And they're confused. And so they're thinking, hey, I want you to show me proof. Number 8, what can I sell my home right now for? What can I sell it for? They want to know. They want to know the pricing conversation. Number 9, why does everybody look at comps differently? I talked to Jim, he said this. I talked to John, he said this. I don't understand the comps anymore. All of you suck. I'm telling you, that's what they're thinking. And last but not least, I'm not even sure what you're negotiating. We tell people what? Oh, I'm a really good negotiator. And they're like, what are you negotiating? They don't have any idea what happens. And it's our responsibility to tell them. How much of this resonates with you? We got 4 people. What is going on? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So now you must be thinking, well, Sharran, this is interesting that you gave us 10 questions. Where's the answer? Well, we engineered a 10-part process to answer these questions. Would you like to see it? Yes. Welcome to the real listing presentation. I have with me a soft cover version of this hardcover book. Maybe I'll put it up. Only 10 pages in here. Who's really cool? First book. I got 6 more. But let me show you. Let me show you. Hardcover and softcover. Here's what it looks like. You do not have anything as good as this. You don't. You know why? I've worked on this for 13 years. And I'm so excited to give it to you. But you got to know what to say in all of these pages. You got to know what to say. Oh, by the way, you're like, Sharran, I'm in Palm Beach, Florida. Those architectural themes won't work for me. Oh, Sharran, I'm in Newport Beach. By the way, we have 3 different themes. You've got the fancy tech theme. We've got the inside indoor theme. Don't worry about the theme, okay? I know, I speak agent. I know how you think. Oh, I can't do that architecture thing. I know you. There are multiple themes, and you'll have access to all of them. But how do you know this will work for me? You're probably thinking that. Well, here's the best part. This has been live with several real agents around the country right now. They've already been using this in the field, testing this to make sure it works. And for the last 10 months, we've been redeveloping this so that I can share this with you. So what you're seeing is from the trenches, which is pretty cool. So you can thank all the colleagues on the screen for doing all the research for this. But here's the best part. The best part is this. I went on several of these appointments with them. You know what they said to me? Hey, Sharran, when you come on the appointment with me, why don't we get any objections? I'm saying the same thing. Why don't we get any objections when I'm on the appointment? And here's the reason. We have to know why we get objections. And that's what I want to show you. There are 3 big reasons why we get objections. Please take a picture of this. There's 3 big reasons, and you have to memorize this. You have to know why we get objections, especially in the living room. Reason number 1, your value prop is not clear enough. Reason number 2, your presentation is not good enough. Reason number 3, your brand is not big enough. But the best part is, if you're already in the living room, your brand is big enough. You're already there. So now it's only about 1 and 2. So today we're going to solve 1 and 2. So this is super funny. Let me read this to you if you can't read this. It says, bro, do you think Sharran would sell me his listing presentation book? I'd wire him $25K right now. This is one of my friends who actually has been using this. He goes, I guess, but his book is not going to win you more listings. Huh? Why not? I heard it works in every market. He said, bro, there's skill involved. Just because you have Tiger Woods' golf clubs doesn't make you Tiger Woods. That was really nice that he said this about me, which is great. It's like, why you got to do me like this, bro? There is skill involved. There's skill involved. And I'm so excited to show you this skill because it can be learned, it can be helped, you can make it, you can master it, and I promise you, it is so simple that if you get the flow right, you will win so much more. So I want to tell you what the flow is. The reason why we break down in our presentations is because of our flow. That's why we don't get objections. Or that's why I don't get objections. Here's the flow. Let me give you the flow. There's 3 parts to the flow. And I'm going to teach you the flow for every single page right now. Okay? Number 1, you have to frame it. The reason why they ask you questions about pricing when you're talking about marketing is you have not framed marketing, that you're only going to talk about marketing right now. You've not framed it for them, which is why they think they can talk about anything else. The second is, when you say, here's my frame, you also have to prove it. You have to organize the details. And the third is, you can't just stay in one frame, you have to transition to the next frame. That is, flipping the page. Not hard, right? So let me explain what I mean by this. The goal, you can use this book in any way that you want, and I'm going to take you through the pages, but the goal is, whether Kofi is working on Michael Jordan's listing, right, or Danny Kushner is in Alabama, in Huntsville, and he's selling 2 investment properties, both of them need to be able to use the same book, the same flow. But each of the materials that you talk about related to that can be different. When I talk about pricing, and that's the pricing page, I explain it, but what I talk about right then is related to my market. The hardest part of doing this was to make this applicable to all of you so that you can still do the frames, but then do your presentation right beside it. Does that make sense? Cool. I want to get this distinction right. Scripting versus framing. How many of you heard of scripting? Scripting is for you. Scripting is for you to organize your thoughts so that you say the right things. Framing is for them. They need to know this is the container that Sharran's going to talk about right now. So I'm going to go through each frame and tell you exactly what it is. So when you organize something, last part of it, please take a picture of the slide because it's important. You're going to hear me use the words show, flow, demo. Show, flow, demo. This is proof. You either show something, or you do a flow of something, or you do a demo of something. If you don't show, flow, demo, they don't believe you. You know why? This is what you say. Mr. and Mrs. Client, when you list with us, this is what we promise to do. Promise! Oh, I promise I'll do this when you work with me. They're like, I don't believe you, because everybody else said that they were number one. We have to show proof. It is proof over promise. Anytime you have an opportunity to say something, there has to be proof. Why did I show you the data on how many appointments that I went on? Because it's proof. Why did I show you the screenshot of all my notes? Because it's proof. Proof over promise. I could have shown up on the stage with no book, but that would have not been proof enough. Proof over promise. All right. And the transition is just when you're going from one frame to the other. Good? Would you like me to go through the frames? Yes. Awesome. This is so exciting. I'm such a nerd. I love making you money. I love making you money. And I believe that if you can up-level your skill, you can make a lot of money by taking care of our clients. Because we say dumb shit in the appointments. Like and you know why? It's not your fault, but it is your problem. You know why? Because no one has audited you saying something dumb in the appointment. You're in the appointment. No one has seen it. So you say the same dumb thing next time. It's not your fault, but it is your problem, right? And it's not your fault, so we have to fix this. All right, here we go. The first page is called The Real Advantage. Who wants a book? I'll be back. Man, this is great. Tamir launches like Willable Revenue Share, and I'm giving out books. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. First page, when you have to frame something before you open the book, it's this. This is what the first page looks like. It's called The Real Advantage. Okay? And here's the frame. Here's the frame. The frame is, Mr. and Mrs. Client, it's our goal to bring you an unfair advantage by listing with us. Would you like, we do that by plugging you into our track record of success. What does it do? I frame it. You know what the client is thinking? Oh, cool, Sharran is going to tell me about their track record of success. And now I can actually tell them, hey, here's what we do. We're the number one fastest growing publicly traded real estate brokerage in North America. We have 50,000, we do 50,000 plus buyer and seller transactions a year, which means we sell a home every 9 minutes. Just while we were sitting here, we sold another home. That's the track record of success that you're plugging into. We have over 12,000 agents, and that's growing, and so you have an exposure network built in all of that. And by the way, we're not just some random firm on the corner of the street. We're publicly traded, which means that we have insane infrastructure to bring this process to you. What did I do? I just read off the page, but I framed the track record of success. Now you have the ability to show that you have more than you. What are they thinking when they ask the first question? Does Sharran have the capability? But they're not asking, does Sharran have the capability? They're asking, who else does Sharran have? How big is this opportunity? What is the support system? How does this feel? That's what this is. Good so far on page one. Here's the solve on this page. I want you to think about what is going on in the prospect's mind right now. They're thinking, okay, what else is important? What else is important? But here's the main transition. The transition is this. Real estate is a game of contracts and power players. Let me show you how we navigate them. There's a lot of people that coach real estate agents on listing appointments. In fact, the best listing presentations out there are the ones that are designed by people who have never talked to a client in their lives. And a lot of you have memorized those presentations. It's kind of weird. No, it's kind of weird, right? Real estate's a game of contracts and power plays. Let me show you how we navigate them. Here's what the page looks like, contracts and power players. But the most important part of this page is to actually do the framing. There are 3 major agreements that govern a real estate transaction. And that's what this page shows, right? It says there's a listing agreement between the seller and me, the listing agent. There's a buyer's agreement between the buyer and the buyer's agent, and then there's a purchase contract between the seller and the buyer, and it's our job to bring all of those together. This is the most important slide in the entire document, because this frames that only you can navigate it. And you know how you do it? You do it this way. My friends in California, I have a real California purchase agreement. So this is what you do. You say, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you're on the table, right? You say, Mr. and Mrs. Client, the first one is a listing agreement. It is between you, the seller, and me, the listing agent. This is what it looks like. Then there's a buyer, and they're going to sign a buyer agency agreement to help them represent them to actually write an offer on our home. Here's what that looks like. And by the way, when all of this comes together and we get an offer, this is called a purchase contract. And this is what this looks like. Put it on the table. What are they looking at now? Your expertise around this. Why are you hiding your expertise? Right? And here's the best part. And you know how you bring this to life? You bring this to life because this brings the money conversation to life. And you take the purchase contract and you say, Mr. and Mrs. Client, it is our job to bring you an offer that you want at a price that you want at the terms that you want. Please memorize this. Let me say it again. Mr. and Mrs. Client, it is our job to bring you an offer that you want at a price that you want at the terms that you want. And that is reflected in this purchase contract. Why don't we fill out the perfect purchase contract for you? And literally write the numbers in there. You know what they're going to tell you? They're going to tell you what they want. Because otherwise you're like, ooh, what do you think your home is worth? Serious? Like, whatever you say is wrong. You understand that, right? Whatever you say is wrong. But when they commit to putting it on the contract, it is a completely different experience. What you're doing here is you're framing with proof. Now they feel like they need you because you're showcasing the complexity but delivering the simplicity in the process. Helpful? When you frame the contract up front, every other conversation becomes easier because now you are the advisor. If you don't frame the contract, now you're just talking about rapport building. You don't want that. Good so far. Can I go to the next one? The transition is this. Now that, you know, a lot of times, think about what they're thinking right now. They're thinking, well, he talked to me about how their firm is really good. He talked to me about this purchase contract. I wonder like what they do for marketing. They're thinking that. Tell them, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you probably may be thinking about marketing, but we have to solve a much bigger problem first. We got to figure out who we're going to market to. This is called the buyer universe. By the way, I recorded an entire video on how to break down the buyer universe for you. It's 9 minutes, and it's already in Real Academy right now. Okay? So here's what you do. You say, the frame is, we break down the entire universe of buyers into 4 categories. Here's the most powerful words. Let me show you. Let me show you, right? Those 4 boxes. Think about this. Every buyer is either people that you know, people that you don't know. Active buyers, passive buyers. That's it. Active buyers, passive buyers, people that you know, people that you don't know. And here's the job. The job is to make sure at least one thing happens in each of those boxes. Let me show you an example. So this is my friend Andrea Duane, who is helping me with this process. She's awesome. So she did this live with people. And she's like, hey, you got active buyers, passive buyers, people that you know, people that you don't know. Our job is to put something in each box. Who would be an active buyer that you know? So somebody that actually signed into your open house, they would be an active buyer that you know, exactly right. So you write open houses right there. So they're like, oh my gosh, they know active buyers right now. Good. Then you go to the next box up top. Who would be passive buyers that you know? Everybody in your database. So you say CRM. Then you go to the next box to the top right. Who would be passive buyers that you don't know? People that are on social media on my entire network. Write social media. The most important thing is you want the bottom right box last because you want to find that. That is the holy grail. You want to find active buyers that you don't know. How do you find active buyers that you don't know? Target market. How else? Do you see the question that is in their head that we can't answer? No, I'm serious. Right? So you say, Mr. and Mrs. Client, the way we find active buyers that we don't know is we run a good process. Run a good process. And the transition is, let me show you the listing launch process that drives our buyer attraction formula. Because you use good process to get good results. Because you already run a process. You just have to tell them that you're running the process. And then that's the next page. This is our proprietary listing launch formula. Right? I'm going to break down each phase for you. Here's what it looks like. So the frame is, our proven listing launch process has 4 key phases because we know that good process drives good results. Right? Let me show you. Now you can organize your thoughts around it. Sometimes you do things pre-launch. How many of you do some kind of pre-launch? And don't say, oh my gosh, like my state doesn't allow pre-launch. Stop it. Talk to your brokers, look what's up. How many of you do pre-launch? Give me hands up. Cool. You would show them. That's the first part of your process. You would show them, here's what we do in pre-launch. Here's what we do in targeted buyer activation. Here's how we actually generate buzz. Here's how we actually do a full court press. You would just tell them what you do in each part of the process. Right? Andrea has a great slide here. She says, hey, this is what we do in listing launch. This is what we do to prep it to go live. This is what we do when we go active on market. This is what we do pending to close. When you show this, what does it do? It makes them feel safe. It shows them proof that you have a process that you're going to follow. As opposed to, look at all the marketing we do. Right? You're not answering that question about process. And here's the transition. Here's what they're thinking right now. They're like, oh my gosh, Sharran just showed me this process. He mentioned some things that were happening in marketing. He mentioned something that he was going to do pre-launch. I wonder how all of this works. That's what they're thinking. So we deliver that. We say, now that we're aligned with the process, let me break down each channel. They're like, oh, he's going to break down each channel for me. I feel good. You got to get them in a safe spot. And then when you flip it, you say integrated marketing. Here's the problem with marketing. We just say, here's my digital marketing plan. They're like, well, now if they're old school in some way and they'd ever looked at something that was traditional, they've completely dismissed you. What you want to say is integrated marketing has got to do with integrating traditional, digital, and social. Now they're like, oh my gosh, she gets it. She's integrating traditional, digital, and social. Whether they like it or not doesn't matter. It shows that, how many of you do something traditional, something digital, something social? You do it anyway, tell the story. Because we think it's cool to say, my video marketing strategy is going to get you X, but now if they're not into video, they think you're not good for them. But if you said, my integrated marketing strategy of bringing together traditional, digital, and social is the right fit for you, now they're like, she's going to leave no stone unturned for me. That's the feeling that they get. Good? Helpful? Okay. So this is the frame. The frame is, Mr. and Mrs. Client, buyers come from everywhere. And it's our job to leave no stone unturned. Look at the framing around it, right? I'm telling them the truth. There is no manipulation here. I am telling them the truth. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, is it a fair statement to make that buyers come from everywhere? Yes, totally. Have you had buyers come from the weirdest of places? Yes. So we tell them, Mr. and Mrs. Client, buyers come from everywhere, so our job is to leave no stone unturned. That's why we use an integrated marketing approach. Then you can go into, here's traditional, here's digital, here's social. There's a great, has anyone ever seen this NAR stat that says where buyers come from? If you literally put that pie chart on the table, it is proof that buyers come from everywhere. And your job with integrated marketing is to touch all of those things. That's how you use that data to your advantage. Proof over promise. It's super helpful, I've noticed in this scenario, to have some kind of draft marketing plan. And the way you do it is to say, this reminds me of my client Jimmy. When we listed Jimmy's home on 123 Pineapple Street, this and this happened. In fact, this was the marketing plan that we used for that home. Let me show you. And you show the plan. And they're like, but since the homes are not the same, let's use this as a starting point to build something great for you. Now they're like, wait a minute, I've got something proven, but he's going to build something great for me. It shows proof. We talk so much about the things that we are going to do, we don't show them proof of things that we have already done. You have to change everything into proof. Good so far? Yeah. Okay. One of the examples of proof is, how many of you say, oh, my ads reach this many people, my buyers reach this many people? We throw out stats. By the way, show them. Tell them, hey, here's all the stats of stuff that we do. Andrew's gonna punch me in the face for giving you the whole thing. But think about the proof associated with this. When I see this, I'm like, wait a minute, she tracks everything that she does. So I know that when I work with her, I'm going to get great results. Instead of just saying what you do, we got to show how you have done it. Proof over promise. And here's the transition. The transition is cookie cutter marketing gives you cookie cutter results. That's why we prefer a systems-based approach. This is how you annihilate the competition. You know what the best thing your competition has? A 32-point marketing plan. Have you guys seen a 32-point marketing plan? Next time you see a 32-point marketing plan, some of you even do it. I love you. It's fine. But I saw a 32-point marketing plan, and like number 7 was put on lockbox. That is the stuff that we do. That is your competition. That may even be you. But we got to elevate this. We got to do better. Because we got to take a systems-based approach. Because what are they thinking? They're like, wait a minute. Why am I hiring this person? And here's what you say. This is called systematic implementation. And it's this. You're not just hiring us. You're hiring all the systems that we have built over the years. Here's the best part. When someone says to you, Eric, why should I hire you? Eric's like, well, I'm Eric Hatch, so it's, of course, that makes sense, right? But you don't want to answer that question. You know what you want to say? Mr. and Mrs. Client, I think we may be asking a different question. It's not about hiring us. You're hiring our process. Because then, when they go to dinner, they're like, man, Sharran is cool, but Eric, he has all these processes. Like, there's no way Sharran can keep up. That is the conversation that they're having. And that's what's so important. And that's why we win. And you must be thinking, well, what the heck are these systems? Let me see them. So the idea here is to explain, I have all the systems, and all of these systems, you have something, by the way. You have these systems. It's a buyer inquiry system, it's a social media system. I'm just building a system around it. But you have to show them at least one system. If not, it's a promise and there's no proof. Would you like me to show you a simple system? Here's a system. I call this the 4-1-2 open house formula. Here's the crazy part. How many of you do open houses for your clients? Raise your hands, please. Come on, please raise your hands. All of us. You know what we say? Mr. and Mrs. Client, we actually put together some great open houses. We bring cookies, and maybe we do a taco truck. Well, here's my favorite. Oh, we do a mega open house. Your mega open house sucks. You know why? You're like, let me just get a taco truck, and you think I'll just get people for tacos, and they'll come see the house. That is terrible. You know why? You got to be able to sell against that. You know, when I'm at the appointment, I say, did they tell you that they were going to do a taco truck? That's how they're going to get people to your house? With food? You know what I did? I just cast a doubt. Instead, I say, Mr. and Mrs. Client, we actually do a 4-1-2 open house formula. This is what we do 4 days prior. This is what we do on the day of. And this is what we do 2 days after. I made this up last night. It doesn't matter, because what you're doing is you're doing this stuff anyway. Your job is to tell a great story so that they get safety around this process. Here's my friend David Matthews, who's our associate broker in Colorado. David has this QR code. You know how he should do it? He's like, hey, when you scan my QR code, it goes to my website. Right from my website, it goes to my CRM. And then I automatically retarget that person, and they see my ads everywhere. Or if they text me, it goes to my AI, and then it goes to an agent on my team. This is a system. Just having the QR code and saying, oh my gosh, I have QR codes on my signs, that is not enough. Showing them what happens is when things start to work. Do you see the difference? When you show them a system, they fall in love with you. When you show them a system, they realize that you have something that the other person does not. When you show them the system, they realize that they're not just hiring you, they're hiring all the systems that you have built. And that is super powerful. The transition is, this approach is what sets us apart from the average agent and the old school brokers. What am I doing here? This is called labeling. I'm essentially saying, here's the average agent, here are old school brokers. Hey, this approach is what sets us apart from average agents and old school brokers. And now they're like, oh my gosh, he's an average agent. Oh my God, they're old school brokers. You've literally put them in a box without saying, you're amazing, they suck. You've literally done that. That's how you say, oh, the average agent will do this. The average agent has a 32-point marketing plan. The average agent will say they can do whatever it takes to put your home on the MLS right away. That's what they'll say. But when you do that and they say that, they're like, oh my gosh, Jimmy's an average agent. Sharran told me to watch out for this because you just labeled them. I'm dead serious. This is why I get no objections, because I just label everybody in the process. So this is called the new frontier. You've gone through all of this marketing stuff, and you know what they're thinking? They're thinking one thing. Oh, but my cousin Jimmy said something different. My cousin Jimmy told me that I need to get the home on the MLS as soon as possible. My cousin Jimmy told me that he's gonna put his face on it, and that's how he's gonna get all the attraction. That's what they're thinking. And so you know what you say? Great, bust the myth. This is what you say. We take the best of the tried and true and combine it with what's working right now in a stacked approach. Let me show you the stacked approach. I got 3 stacks. Stack number 1 that says the single channel approach. People that just say, put your home on the MLS and pray. Stack number 2 says, put your home on the MLS and pray, but I'm gonna put my face on all the marketing. And I tell them that, oh, agent branded marketing is a really good thing, but we have to have a much better approach. We need the agent branded marketing, we need the MLS, and we need a systems-based approach. I want them to see the 3rd stack. Because when they see the stack visually, they know that you bring a lot more value to the table without you telling them that you bring a lot more value to the table. You have to do it visually with proof. That's why this is called the new frontier. Good? So here's what Andrea does. She's like, hey, here's the average agent. Here's here's what we call, of course, marketing, and here's our differentiators. And then she's like, here's the average agent, here's what everyone else does, here's what we do. I'm not gonna show you that. That's Andrea's. But you see what I did? Andrea's showing proof, right? Here's what everybody else does. Here's what some people do. Here's what we do. And when they see the 3 stacks, what happens? It's proof. They believe you. The main part about the appointment is that they believe you. Not that they trust you, they believe you. They can only trust you if they believe you. Most of the time we promise and they don't believe us. Pricing. There was a transition. Hey, if everything that we discussed was setting up the party, then the list price is an invitation. I'm trying to like make it better, right? List price is an invitation. And the main part on this page is, it's my job to protect your equity. They have no idea what that means. Would you like an equity analysis? They have no idea. You know they have no idea what that means. That's industry jargon. They have no idea what equity analysis means, right? But they know to maximize your net proceeds. But that's why pricing is about positioning and the list price is an invitation. You have to memorize that last part. Pricing is about positioning and the list price is an invitation. Because for a $10 million house, if I listed it at $1 million, would I get a lot of people there? Yes, because the list price is an invitation. But I listed it for $100 million, would I get a lot of people there? No, because it's not a good invitation. Then I explain each of the pricing strategies. And I say, hey, this reminds me of my client, Jimmy. And I tell them, Marianne did this. I tell them what happened in this process, how I actually sold this house. Here's a transition. Hey, if that was the art of pricing, now let's combine it with the science of pricing. The science of, you do not want to discuss price in the pricing strategy. You only want to discuss it in the market dynamics slide, right? You want to discuss it with the comps. And the best part about this is market dynamics, which says, hey, would you like me to show you how to interpret the market data? Please do not assume that they don't know. Would you like me to show you how to interpret the market data? And they'll say, yes, please do. Now you have full authority. Right? Now it makes sense. Now you can say, hey, the market is a relationship between active spendings and solds. Please memorize that. The market is a relationship between active spendings and solds. Let me break it down for you. Now they're like, oh, he actually explained the market to me and he just didn't go through comps. Teach, define, oh, I'm gonna give you something. You may need your phone on this one. Please take out your phone. I'm gonna record something for you. The greatest thing that you can do when you talk about market dynamics is you can talk about macro to micro. So let me actually take it down for you. So it states like this. You say, Mr. Klein, there are 131 million housing units in the United States. There's 13.1 million housing units here in California. In Orange County, we have 975,000 homes. In this area in Shady Canyon, we have 475 homes, of which 3 are active, meaning they're on the market, 9 are pending, which means they're under contract, and 4 sold in the last 6 months. Out of the 4 that sold in the last 6 months, 2 hit a record price. Let me show you the process to make you the next record price. You have to be able to do that. If not, people like me will beat you. No, I'm serious, right? You have to know that. You can memorize that. 131 million housing units in the United States. I just memorized it. I've known this for 8 years. But when you do that, what it does for them is like, oh my gosh, Sharran knows the numbers. And they can never refute anything that you say because they believe you. Now, whatever you say is the truth. The transition. Please, please, please remember this. The invisible power of what I do happens from contract to close. They have no idea what you do in the contract period. You spend all this time working so hard to negotiate in the contract period that they have no idea. And you have to tell them, Mr. and Mrs. Klein, the invisible power of what I do happens from contract to close, or whatever your local terminology is. And then you flip to negotiation execution. The big part of this slide is, you want to say, let me explain to you what exactly happens when we accept an offer. What does it do for them? It reduces their stress and puts them in a perspective of saying, Sharran's going to get me an offer. That's what you want. And then you just walk them through how they get an offer. You can also share systems on this, saying, hey, we got this process, or we got this process. It's proof. Doesn't matter what it is, you have a process of handling it. It's proof. And the last part of this is a transition. And you say, would it be okay to sketch out a draft timeline to see if this is helpful to you? And this is where you start doing the timeline, and it's way easy to do calendar close after this. Those are the 10 pages. Those are the 10 pages. So, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Here's what I did, here's what I did, here's what I did. But wait, there's more. But wait, there's more. I'll be right there. I'll be right there. That was good. I like the aggressiveness. That was good. I recorded all the frames, all the value prop, all the transition, and it's live for you in Real Academy right now. You should be able to look at it right now. And here's what I'm going to tell you. You have all the training in Real Academy, and starting in mid-November, I'm going to work with you weekly to coach you on this. Every single week. Every single week. Every single week. This is called the Real Listing Toolkit. It's the hardcover book, the softcover book, the digital presentation, the listing presentation frames, each of the PDFs associated with them, each of the talking points, each of the scripts, and all the coaching available for it, because I believe that if we up our skill, we are going to crush it. So let me get some music, Brian. Let me get some music. Mr. Tamir, you got 4. You got 4. You're going to hand this out on this aisle. Let me get some music. You got one. You got one. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. I got my last one. Last one. Last one. That's all I got. I tried. That's all I got. All right. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down. Hold up. Sit down, 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 sit down. Okay, sit down. Okay, give me a second, give me a second. Brian. Okay. All right. Sit, sit, sit. We got 2 more books. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. These are all available live. You've got hardcover books and softcover books. We are not, just so you know, we're not making any money on any of these, right? You can just order it directly. It'll get shipped to you. Softcovers are easy. Hardcovers are easy. There's a magazine version that's live. I love this stuff because I believe that if you can teach this to your agents, if you can teach this to yourself, you will have so much more confidence that you will be able to crush the appointments. And you will be able to take care of your clients better. That's why this is so important. Is this good? Do you think you can utilize some version of this? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So here's, man, I actually, Dre, finished right on time. I'm a minute late, so I got through all of it. I I'm so excited. By the way, it is in your apps right now, live in Real Academy, and I'm super excited to share more of this stuff with you. So here's next steps for the afternoon. Next steps for the afternoon. I'm out of books, because we only printed 15, because we wanted to get everything live to you guys first. We have some really tactical breakouts. We have some really tactical breakouts, and they are on the other side. So that is for the next couple of hours. And then I will tell you this. We have an insane set of sessions to finish the day. Please, you do not want to miss the Jedi Pritesh Damani and how to get rich. You do not want to miss that. So we're going to break to go to our breakout sessions, and we will be back here right after all the breaks. Does that sound good? All right, I appreciate you guys. Hopefully that was fun. Thank you so much. Oh, 4 o'clock. Hey, 4 o'clock back here, which means 3:55 back here. 3:55. Thank you, Justin.